learned from the lesson. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a little, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it down, we gon' get it. Working.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your Watchlist coming in July 24th, 2020, and the question is the stock market going to crash? We saw a few things today. One was an important set of data that we haven't seen since March, or at least hasn't been this bad since March, but now at the same time, a lot of you know our good friend TL69, TLT, many names, our criminal informant. I mean, there's many things to it, but TLT. The bonds made a big move. A lot of people are asking, did it set something off? We were talking about gold yesterday. This is kind of interesting, and a few different things happened today. So we're going to talk about it, why we saw this move we saw today. Even though it was only 353 points on the Dow, we were up a little bit. This was surprisingly big. I will tell you right now, we kept talking about this. If you remember last week or 2 weeks ago, after the Netflix report, or a little bit before that, we saw something similar here. So keep this in mind. We are still in earnings mode. We still have to see what is going to happen in some of these reports from these bigger companies. There was still other outside news that we'll talk about, but don't get too ahead of yourself. But at the same time, keep your head in the game. We need to talk about what's happening here. So I hope you're ready. But it is going to be a Froggy Friday tomorrow. We got the keys, we got the plays, as well as kind of the overall game plan. We'll even cover a few things too. We got really clapped here. So we played the last few weeks very good, but this last week we held on to some big bags and they got big clapped. So we need to finesse our way out of those, or just see what is going to happen and what to expect moving forward. So I hope you're ready, but let us not delay. You guys know what you need to do. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open. It's the first link in the description and it is pinned in the comments. We better see you there in the morning. It's free 99. It costs you nothing to join. YouTube.com/the stock market. You can post the plays, see the plays, watch the watch list come to life, and tomorrow is a rager. Like it's a party. Like on Fridays, if you haven't heard of youtube.com/the stock market, we party. So it's a COVID party. So invite all your friends, let them know there's like it's a party, like it's an actual, it's a party. If you want like a table or anything, I think there's a few promoters, you could contact them, but I mean, I don't know if there's going to be a cover or not. It's one per person. Just be careful. I mean, we will cap entrances. So I'll see you there. And the most important thing you need to do, post or watch this below. Let us know what you're looking at. Got any plays, comments, remixes, anything, post them below and source that info. Tomorrow's going to be exciting. I hope I see you there. But right off the bat, the first thing that we have to talk about here is guidance. So we saw jobless claims. This was the first time it increased since March, but not only was that data bad and we saw the market react, but the next level of it is the guidance, is what does this mean for the future? Now, what makes me say that? Because we saw some reaction from that data today. Again, there was a few other things we'll talk about, but now with Intel had a good report, just like Microsoft. They beat on the top and bottom line, but a few of their metrics got changed around, with their margins and some other stuff. The estimates were changing essentially, and that is going to be the key here. People aren't really too hung up on if they beat or not, but now if there's any material changes, and now moving forward, we talked about this. A lot of people think the market is going to come down. I personally, even with TLT, I do not think it's snitching just yet. We will see. You never know. It is at a danger point, but some people have tried to compare. They said it looks just like this, and we've talked about this. We talked about this Wuhan zone and what this means, and I could see this play out. But if this is going to happen and we really come down here, I think we're going to need we're going to need some level of news, and it's going to happen through a Grim Reaper company. And now, again, this was Intel today after hours. Some people asked, was this the Grim Reaper? Not quite yet. This is a big move, but not quite the Grim Reaper. However, this is showing us something. It's showing us what's possible here now this quarter, and why. It's not going to be if they beat or not. It's going to be when a company now reports. If Apple, Amazon, Facebook says anything about the future that is negative, if they say, well, we have to delay this till then. Literally, Disney came on after us. They said they're delaying Mulan. Let's get down to business. But stuff like that, and that's the whole point, is that anything in the future could materially change the companies and valuations, and now that could start a trend, and pretty much once one big dog does it, everybody might do it, or it kind of selling begets selling in a way, or even guidance begets guidance. So that's the first part. Again, what we saw today, it was that jobs report. Initial jobless claims rose, and then there was an antitrust. The House said that they're going to be looking to, not this one, there's two different things. Again, there's a consumer protection probe, but then the antitrust is like a case that they want to like just look into all of these for antitrust. And again, I think next week we get the social media companies before Congress, so that'll be interesting. However, this one was pretty wide sweeping, and then pretty much when this news started to come out, the markets really started to react. So they were kind of, even after the jobless claims, it was hard to see what the market was doing, but then that antitrust news came out, and then finally the dagger was another piece on Apple that they're doing a consumer protection probe that they said like Apple misled customers or something along those lines. So I don't think the consumer protection one's as important, but the antitrust one could be there. However, we saw another piece of Google antitrust news. So that news was big. It was kind of important. Again, blending this in with now the pre-earnings kind of sell-off and blow-off after we saw Microsoft and Tesla. There's a few different things going on. So it reminded me a lot about 2 weeks ago. We will see TLT's at a danger level, but you have to wait for that to really get above, or 0.5 on the 10-year is what we talked about. So watch out for that. But what I'll say is, watch even today. We saw some China escalation, and I'd watch for that to kind of move things, or if the antitrust stuff develops and is actually even a new threat. But watch for any of that stuff. But all in all, I think we're going to stay in a range. So pretty much what I'm saying here is, unless there's really new information, I don't think the market is going to crash or the volatility comes out just yet. I think we're going to stay in a range. So pretty much, even if we come down, if we don't break 312 by the time Amazon and Apple report, I'm not really going to be too worried about anything. So I don't care if it drops even to 314 or 312 tomorrow, but then if it comes back up Monday, again, what I'm saying is just watch out for the range. However, it depends on the reasons why it does that, but I'm not quite sold on it just yet. Even though we see a lot of indicators, the key is going to really be timing here, but also the reason why. But again, I could be wrong. I'm ready to stay nimble, and I talked about it today. Even though we did take some losses, we still have older plays too. It's not why we took losses now. We took losses on the earnings run-up plays, but now we have old graveyards, and you're seeing how some of them could still do some damage. So I'm keeping that in mind. It's better to be late than wrong. Not going to force it. There is still opportunity. So I hope you're ready. You don't force it as well, but let us get into the plays. So right off the bat, pretty simple as far as tomorrow. Actually, there's two that I want to look at. Again, they kind of go hand in hand, but the first one is ABUS. So this one, we got shares of this one. I got this one on Robinhood. I grabbed 500 shares at $4.50. And this is a weird trade. Again, we talked about this, but you guys have seen all the other swing trades that we've done. This is another one of those biotech plays. So now the news around ABUS is very, very interesting. People were saying that they won like a patent and they get like a stake of Myrna. And then again, you kind of look at it, this is just like one of those sketchy pump and dump companies, biotechs. Again, I wouldn't say like pump and dump like sketchy penny stock, but again, it's a failed company. It's a failed biotech. It's trash. So they could be patent trolls. We talked about it even after I was like, a lot of it doesn't make sense, but my opinion won't stop what's already in effect. So pretty much it's a sketchy play. However, we saw the same thing with VXRT. We did the same exact strategy. That's what I did here too. So if you guys have been watching along, this play makes a lot more sense. It was easier to follow along with. I even went smaller, even though it's a lot of shares. 500 shares was $2,200. I'm going to hopefully sell out at 100%, make it free. Maybe we hold on for a little bit, but then we'll be able to hold. But I said the same thing with VXRT. If you guys remember that, or which one was it? Box L. That one literally was last week. You guys remember that? We were like, I think I forgot what I sold out at. Yeah, I got rid of half of them at like 367. It's still up there, but I think it went up to like 4 something afterwards. So it could still continue to go up, and that's what I'm saying. I don't know if, ABUS might really have a stake in it, but who knows? I don't really care. The idea that I'm mainly focusing on is pretty much get my initial investment back. We'll hold free equity. And again, I'm just another one of these vaccine biotech stocks. We have this in the portfolio. You see how they're adding up. We're protecting the investment and then playing with profits. So there was that from yesterday. Be careful with that. Got those shares. Again, pretty much I'll look at, depending on tomorrow, how fast it hits 100% or if it goes up there. If it does at all, I will look to sell back, get my initial $2,200 and then hold the rest. And this one, I don't really know much or have a time frame on, but That's the first one. The next one, watch the biotechs after hours. There was some moves, I believe, on AstraZeneca, and we have those, but these were the plays. Again, we got clapped. I think it's the most ironic thing ever. This counts now. It's at 10,008. Really clapped. I got killed on a lot of the pre-earnings run-ups. That Beyond play was 1,000. AstraZeneca, and pretty much I talked about it today. This is what happens when you play the earnings run-ups. We've talked about it. We've won, and you guys have seen us win on them, but now this is what it looks like to take a L. The ironic part was I was talking cash balance. I let it get away from me here. And we got hustled pretty much with the two big biotech plays. So that's the broader lesson, what to look out for. However, now I want to see these tomorrow. We're still in them, but I want to see either trimming those plays or even watching them to see if they break out. But as far as even a Froggy Friday play for tomorrow, watch Microsoft and Netflix. So pretty much what I'm expecting tomorrow is either going to regulate. It's going to be a normal day. You're going to kind of see the earnings effect, but maybe this volatility does continue or something like we saw today. If anything happens, gets sparked or changed, I'm going to look at Microsoft or Netflix because they just reported. So if there's a broader market move that brings the market down or even up, these companies just reported they have like a little bit extra fuel to the flame, as well as a catalyst that could have potentially really killed their IVs on one of the directions. So keep that in mind. And then also Intel, just don't forget about them. They're down 11% now. So we have those August puts we have January puts, I think. So no, I forgot. I got those August 31. So those ones should actually be really good too. But watch them. You'll see some of those come to life. And then the key also with this is a big move depending on how Intel opens. This could be one for a continuation. It could bounce tomorrow morning and you could get a really good call, or at the same time, some of these out of the money puts that we own, you'll watch them. They're going to open up cheap, and before you know it, they'll get expensive again. So pay attention to the continuation on a play like this. So watch Intel, watch AMD again, and why Intel dropped because of the guidance change and that they're changing the plans with their chips, but now AMD, their competitor, skyrocketed off that. So watch them back and forth tomorrow. That should be a good play. It should be interesting. Watch Apple again. We already have our plays. I'm going to see. I talked about selling premium on it. They moved down a lot and definitely outpaced. So I like them, but I want the premiums and the earnings to kind of come close. I'm a little bit scared on some of these premiums after seeing the last few days. There's been some crazy moves. So I don't want to force it, but Apple and Facebook, those are the two catalysts, the two big companies that can make a big move. Same thing with Google. Then watch Wing. We were looking at this today. They just moved, but I don't know. I was at tinfoil 10. We were saying all sorts of stuff, but it's interesting. I think they have earnings. Today was a weird day. I don't know why there was a lot of volume. They just got upgraded, but that didn't make sense. Interesting. I like them. Keep an eye on there. Then, like we said, AstraZeneca, A-Bus, watch the Myrna. We're still in those plays. We didn't sell them out $1,500. They're down to like $300 now, or almost break even. Microsoft, Netflix, the Beyond got clapped us, and then Walmart as well too. I want to see either maybe trim those August plays. I'm just going to be looking at them, but again, watch how these value stocks play, or even rotate in comparison to everything else. And then finally, good old TLT, 170 is the level. So pay attention tomorrow. If it breaks 170, where does it go after 170? How does it hold? But the key is to watch the 10-year. And what does the 10-year show? 0.5 on the 10-year is the key. If it breaks below that, and usually once it breaks, it'll go crazy. So again, you'll really see if TLT is going to snitch, because once bonds start entering a new level regime, it will start to get crazy. So I hope you're ready. Do not be too jumpy. Do not go too crazy. And welcome to earnings. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're hydrated, healthy, ready to go. Make sure you post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. I need you in the game. And all you got to do is focus on your own work, baby. That is the only thing. Did you put in work? Did you think you put in work? But put in the work. Stay focused. Be fair with the judgment. Balance the budget. Don't let it turn up like hot boiling water. You see what happens. People get clapped. I got clapped, but you stay in the game. But the code loves you. I love you. I'm gonna see you in the morning. Let's go.